AI is here and is already affecting tribal nations. That was a common theme among leaders from all over Indian country who gathered at the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law for the Pre-Wiring the Res Symposium to learn about how artificial intelligence is affecting tribal nations.
We have to embrace this, but embrace this on our terms, right? That respects tribal sovereignty and digital sovereignty.
Leonard Bruce, a data analyst with Gila River, said he was of two minds when it came to AI and data sovereignty.
One hand, yeah, it can definitely bolster tribal sovereignty in that if we own and control the data, right, we own and control the systems, it can definitely help us in terms of like data sovereignty. And when we talk about like data sovereignty or data governance, it's about the information, the stories that are told about us, right? On the other hand, like it can also erode tribal sovereignty and tribal governance, because if those stories are being controlled by other folks and they're being told about us and we don't have any internal control over it, then there's problems there.
Data sovereignty is a concept that data is controlled by and subject to the laws and governance structures of the nation, region, or community where it is collected, processed, or stored. Speaking on a panel about building a body of policy on AI serving tribal digital sovereignty, Governor Lewis said tribal nations cannot get left behind.
And we can be left behind. Because once we get left behind, we are victims rather than being agents.
Jeffrey Blackwell, General Counsel and Chief of Staff for the National Congress of American Indians, pointed toward history to highlight the importance of tribal nations being included in building policy surrounding AI. He said Indian country was not included in key communications and infrastructure legislation like the Federal Communications Act of 1934 and the Rural Electrifications Act. The Rural Electrifications Act of 1936 provided federal loans for the installation of electrical distribution systems to serve isolated rural areas of the United States. One attendee was taking language and culture revitalization into his own hands. Albert Haskey created a mobile app that helps users navigate the Navajo clan system while teaching Navajo cultural values. He uses machine learning, a subset of AI, to develop apps related to Navajo language and culture.
That's who we are. That's what makes us, us, in terms of our tribes and our culture, our practices. And it's important to every single one of us, I would say.
While there were many discussions on how AI can be used to benefit tribes, there were still the overhanging questions of its environmental impacts. Tracy Morris said she wanted this to be a symposium that talked about all of AI's impacts.
We started getting comments about why does your agenda not include, environmental concerns? So we actually added a panel in the last couple of weeks.
During that panel discussion, researchers and energy leaders talked about the impacts AI has on natural resources. Data centers that run and host generative AI require vast amounts of water and energy to cool and run. A single ChatGPT query uses 10 times more energy than a standard Google search. Throughout the symposium, one thing was clear: AI is here and is affecting tribal nations.
What I wanted to do was to make sure that if this wasn't a conference about the possibility of AI, about how cool it is and what it can do, I wanted it to be a conference that talked about how it was actually being applied in Indian country.
Your grandkids are already using these systems, as well as like people who are working, whether you're working within your community, and a lot of our members are working outside of our communities. Companies around us are already using those systems. They're already implementing them. So we're having to deal with them whether we like it or not.
For ICT, from the homelands of the Yakima Otham and Peeposh, Daniel Herrera, Carbajal.